Okay, how's everybody doing today? Of course, my name is Kent. Channel is Bitcoin Believer, and today is November 25th. It's about 2:45. I'm in the West Coast, actually in Carlsbad, California. And I think this is going live. One of my first lives in a long time. I haven't done any lives for a long time. And the reason why is because the FTX thing and all the negativity about the cryptocurrencies just kind of kept me out of the market. Plus, made a lot of videos about EOS. I'm going to talk a little bit about EOS today too. Um, so I want to talk about Bitcoin though, because Bitcoin's what I'm focusing on, and I will focus on Bitcoin from here on out. Probably talk very little about EOS because we got a letter from the Block One settlement as far as EOS is concerned. I'll show it to you here in a second. But some of the, I owned EOS, my son owned EOS, and of course now they have a class action lawsuit against EOS. But now they're saying that what we sent them as far as our our numbers are concerned aren't adding up. And that's something about the blockchain you got to be very careful about. They have a total record of everything done with EOS on the blockchain. So what we gave them and what they have is not matching. So they're basically saying that they're disallowing our what we're putting in as far as our claim on this suit. Here, I'll show you the letter. Here's the letter real quick. It says, "Dear claimant, this is the EOS." And of course, we're suing Block One, trying to sue Block One. And it says, to whoever the attorney is that's handling this, "We received proof of claim." Okay, we received the proof of claim and release that you submitted in connection with the Block One settlement. We have determined based on our review of your claim that the claim is deficient, which is curable or ineligible for reasons. So they go on and talk about a little bit about, I don't know what they're looking for. I mean, like I say, everything's on the blockchain. We try to give them as good information as we could possibly give them. So who knows? That may never come to fruition, meaning that, the people that are suing Block One right now, I mean, there's like $28 million in escrow on that lawsuit. And I don't know if any of it will ever be seen by anybody. Probably most of it will be going to the attorneys. And that's the way most of these class action lawsuits go. So anyway, for that reason, and for a lot of other reasons, I just don't really want to go into EOS anymore. The EOS blockchain runs really well. We run our challenge application on it. Chase does really well with it. He's still upgrading and fixing and doing things. So to me, it's not an investment anymore. It's just something we use for our project. It's a functional blockchain that we're using the utility of, but I'm not putting any more money into the EOS blockchain as far as buying the token is concerned. So those days are over with. So new days ahead. This is going to be about Bitcoin. Basically, I'm not really too much into other altcoins. Like I said in my video the other night, altcoins are generally, they can be reproduced just like the US dollar. So all they have to do is rewrite the code a little bit and they can print as many as they like. So I'm not going to cover altcoins anymore. I'm going to be like a maximalist to Bitcoin. That's going to be my thing. I'm going to stick with Bitcoin and Bitcoin only because I do think that is the future. People need opportunities in this world. There's very few opportunities unless you're really big in social media or you have some niche. But just to go out and get a job, it's pretty difficult to make it in this world today. So people are going to need places to put money so they can stay ahead of the game. And Bitcoin is, in my opinion, the number one place you can do that. An ordinary, everyday person can make it happen in Bitcoin if you play your cards right. And I think playing the cards right now are pretty good. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit because you're getting a little. I want to bring up this guy, and this is kind of a funny guy. His name is Andre Jink, or whatever his name is. So you're starting because we had a little bit of a run up in Bitcoin. We had a little bit of it's gone up fairly, I'd say significantly here in the last month. Let's look at the last 30 days. So we've had a pretty good run. I mean, from, let's go a little bit out. Let's go 90 days. So yeah, we've had a pretty good run from about 26,000 now to about 38,000. So, and that's been from October to November, almost December. So now we're coming out. Now people are starting to, give the negative side of this. Oh, Kathy Wood sold some of her ARK that was the grayscale ETF, and you got guys like this guy, Andre Jink, whatever his name is. And he's talking about, he made a last video and the guy's got like 2.3 million subscribers. I can't even believe it because he just kind of gives some, he's entertaining. I'll give him that. He's entertaining. But that entertaining. He's not that good as far as this analysis is concerned. This guy doesn't know.
Major news.
He's just a kid. Seems like. Well, let me see what he is. He's got a scruffy little beard. What is this beard thing he's got going on here? I don't know what his background is. I don't know what he's done, but he gives him some. He does some magic tricks along with his videos, but he gets kind of involved. I don't even know if he's that much into crypto, but this showed up on one of my feeds. So he's got this
major news in the.
I don't want to play it, but anyway, he's talking about breaking news. The SEC is coming after crypto. How old of news is that? I mean, they've been coming after crypto for a long time. I remember when we couldn't make crypto ads on YouTube. I remember when social media, you couldn't put an ad out for Bitcoin on YouTube. So the SEC, that's like dated information, dude. A long time ago. Okay. What about the XRP lawsuit? They sued XRP. They sued Coinbase. Now they're coming after Binance. We knew they were coming after Binance. Binance has been a problem for a long time. CZ is not a good guy. He's just not a good guy. I mean, I remember back in the day when CZ was saying, hey, with ERC20 tokens, give me your ERC20 tokens. And then when ERC20 tokens get transferred to EOS, I'll do the transfer for you. So you don't have to do that. It was a little bit of a hassle doing that. Because you had to do it on chain, and it was really a problem. And I remember I just put a little bit of EOS or a little bit of my ERC20 tokens in Binance, wanting them to switch over to EOS and have Binance do that. And that was a mess. And I can't even get them out. They're locked up. And the reason they're locked up is because of my IP address. I'm in the United States of America. So I just donated a little bit of EOS, and basically it turned into, I switched it over to Bitcoin. To ZZ. I've never trusted Binance. I've never trusted FTX. I've never trusted those guys. None of those guys. So the fact that the SEC is going after Binance, hey, what else is new? You know, don't give me information that's so unbelievably obvious, and not only obvious, but new. Somebody give me a thumbs up, thanks. And I haven't done this for a long time, so I don't expect a lot of people to participate. But I'm going to start doing it because I want people to get information that's current and not get some dated information, or listen to guys like this guy right here, and that are giving you just whatever, you know, people buying Bitcoin's going up. So now he's got to make a video saying, oh no, we got SEC problems. And not only that, they're going after Binance. Like, that's really news, dude. And you got how many million subscribers? And you got 2.3 million subscribers, and that's your current video that was up 23 hours ago. The SEC coming after crypto. And he's got 2.3 million subscribers. I think I got 5,000. This guy's got so much. And you know, what has this guy ever done? I don't know. I can tell you about my history. One of the things I will tell you about is I used to be a stockbroker. And I was a stockbroker in the heyday. Actually, this is a funny movie. This movie, Wall Street, with Leonardo DiCaprio. In fact, my son was watching it the other night, and I was watching this movie, and I'm thinking, I was there. I was there in the penny stock heyday, not quite the heyday. In fact, I was ahead of this guy. I think what was his name? Jordan something. Jordan. I can't even remember his name. The guy that actually, the real guy that did this. Now I was there. I was in this time. I was about 10 years ahead of this guy. I was in the early 80s. He was in the 90s. But I was at the penny stockbrokers. I knew the Meyer blinders. I don't know if anybody remembers those days back in the early 80s was penny stocks, but I was there. I saw all this stuff. I mean, people ask me, what was it like? Was it like it was in the movie? It was a little bit like it was in the movie. I mean, believe me, every time I walked into the office, somebody was snorting some cocaine off of a desk table. That was the way it was. I mean, I wasn't participating in the drug thing because I was like 22, 23 years old. I was an athlete. I was trying to keep myself in shape. And, you know, of course, cocaine just was not my thing. I just could never see the advantage of, doing cocaine. But let me tell you, there was a lot of cocaine snorted in the offices around there. And I saw guys like $100 bills with cigars. I mean, I was a kid. They were ahead of me. So they were making money. I wasn't making that kind of money, but I saw everything. I saw the whole 9 yards as far as the penny stock market and as far as the thing. And that's what I'm going to tell you about this market going on with Bitcoin right now. When I was a penny stockbroker, No one. It's like Bitcoin. Nobody wants to figure out Bitcoin. Nobody wants to know about the keys, or they don't want to know about the wallet. They don't want to know about how the blockchain works. They don't want to know anything. They just want to know that the price is going up. That's the way it was in the penny stock days. Nobody wanted to know about the penny stocks. They just wanted to see appreciation. Once they saw appreciation, they get careless what it did. I could tell you stories, but I don't want it to go on that long. The kind of things that we were bringing public, the kind of companies that we were literally bringing public was hysterical. I got to tell you a story. One of the guys that was the chief officers of the firm that I was with a firm called Dunhill Investments. And we were driving down the I-25. We were in Denver, Colorado. We were going to Fort Collins. And we were actually getting ready to take public a company that had a touch-sensitive computer screen back in, I think, the early 80s, like 1984, 1985. No, it'll be 86, maybe 87 sometime, by the name of Touch Dialogues, one of the first touch-sensitive computer screens ever. And they were developing it there in Fort Collins. And we were going down the I-25, driving to this guy's, the guy that was the starter's name was Paul Knight. And we were driving to Touch Dialogues, the company we're taking public. And off to the right, there was like a big truck stop with lots of trucks, semis sitting around, everything like that. And the CEO of the firm that I was with looked at me and goes, "Yeah, we took those guys public." I was thinking, "Yeah, you took a truck stop public?" I thought it was hysterical. Why do you take a truck? That's exciting, taking a truck stop public. So that's the kind of deals we used to do. Take truck stops and take them public. And of course, it was traded on the NASDAQ, on the pink sheets. I think they still have the pink sheets. I'm not sure, maybe, but that's probably all digitized by now. And then if you got something going pretty well, sometimes it would take off and go into the big time. You'll get to the NASDAQ, but we very rarely had anything like that. Everybody would be out by that time. We'd do the double, the triple, get out. So yeah, those were the Wall Street days, or the penny stock days. But the reason I bring up the penny stock days is because the one thing, like you say, nobody cared about the fundamentals of the deals we were doing. They didn't care. They didn't care if the truck stop was a truck stop, or they didn't care if it was a touch-sensitive computer screen, which was going to be the future with the Apple iPhone. That was 30 years before the Apple iPhone was ever thought of. So, 80s, about 30 years before the Apple iPhone, but they were still working on it, the touch-sensitive screen. They didn't care about any of that stuff. They just wanted to see the appreciation. And so once they saw the appreciation, they didn't care what it did. And that's the way people are today with Bitcoin. They don't want to understand Bitcoin. That's why the ETF is so important, because people could just buy the ETF. But you really basically can still buy Bitcoin with the security of an ETF if you just buy it through a publicly traded company, that's a point I made the other day. MicroStrategies or Coinbase, they both have large amounts of Bitcoin on the books, and they're publicly traded, which means you have public access to all their information. They have to make quarterly reports. They have to be, everything they do has to be scrutinized by the public. So you're pretty safe by buying MicroStrategies or Bitcoin if you want to get ETF. So I don't really think the ETF's a big deal, although everybody's making a big deal out of it. The big deal is the amount of money coming in once the ETF happens. And of course, a lot of people are being pretty bearish on the ETF right now, when it's going to happen and if it's going to happen. I don't really care if it happens or not. Just the anticipation of it happening is big enough for me. So right here we go. We're going to see what the stories are. Enjoy sub 40K Bitcoin plan stresses 100K averages. So I think this one talks about a lot of people. And of course, somebody brought up something about Kathy Woods selling some of her ARK, which was a grayscale ETF. I think the ETF that's probably going to get confirmed or the one that's going to happen is probably BlackRock, simply because BlackRock is so powerful. BlackRock ETF. See if there's any news on that recently. JP Morgan says, let me see what they say. JP Morgan says GBTC could see outflow 2.2 upon. Okay, so what they're saying is once the ETF gets approved, some of the money could be flowing out. This is Morgan. This is JP Morgan saying that the ETF is probably going to get done. So if JP Morgan says it's going to get done, I would say it's probably going to get done. Now, of course, I got to get a pop-up. I thought I read that in here someplace before. But anyway, ETF is probably going to get done. They're going to say, a lot of people are going to say no, they're going to block it, and it's going to not happen, and it's going to try to bounced around the price. But I want to show you something, and this is why I brought the Wall Street thing up, the penny stock market, is the biggest thing. People aren't so interested in fundamentals. They're interested in fear of missing out. That is the FOMO. That's what people we even have a word for it called FOMO, fear of missing out. And that's what's going to happen with Bitcoin over the next few months, because you have a trifecta of, you got a couple things going on. You've got this, let me see if I can find a good place to show you. Okay, here, wait, this is a pretty good place. We have the halving coming up. So every 4 years in Bitcoin, the rewards are cut in half. So making it more difficult. So while you have the US dollar appreciating or depreciating because of currency inflation, money printing, we know all that's happening. It's all very, very public, very well known, all over the internet. And of course, it's the best of all the others. The other countries are printing more money than we are, but we are printing a lot of money. And Bitcoin does just exactly the opposite. Every 4 years, they cut the mining rewards in half. So you have to mine more Bitcoin in order to get the same rewards. That makes Bitcoin more scarce and harder to earn. So that makes it more valuable. So while the US dollar is continuing to become less valuable, Bitcoin is becoming more valuable. Where else in the world have you ever seen that happen? And the other point I made last night, if you watched my video when I was on the street, was that if you're into mining stocks or you're into silver or gold or holding that, that is not, in my opinion, the most valuable money in the world. In fact, I don't think it's money. It's a commodity that they use as money. And we don't know what the supplies are. There could be vast amounts of minerals somewhere in the world. The Antarctic, we haven't even really discovered much of the Antarctic. We haven't discovered many areas in the world. Africa, Australia. There could be massive gold mine reserves, even in Alaska or Canada, that we're not even aware of. And all you need to have is a big article about a massive gold find up in Canada or Alaska to make the gold price drop, because all of a sudden we got more supply. And then plus, we have bigger machineries. We can mine it faster. We have better systems to mine it. We have technology. We have artificial intelligence now that will help us find the gold, the silver, and all this other stuff. So we don't know what the fixed supplies are as far as gold, silver, and all the other commodities are concerned. We know what it is in Bitcoin. So here we go. Let's talk about this. It's 2010. We had a halving. We had a bull market. If you can follow my cursor here. That in 2010 went from about $12 to $1,177 in its high. Was that 2012? So you had a massive appreciation during this period of time. Second halving, second time, massive appreciation. This halving, it was a second halving, third halving. Now I was involved in this halving, so I knew about this one. This went from about 5,000 to 60,000. So here we go. It was, here we go. It was 8,566 to 66,000. The second halving, 651 to 19,871. The other one from $12 to $1,100. So that's what happens in these halvings, and we've got one coming up in a few months. So this is the FOMO, the fear of missing out, that people are going to want to participate in, because nobody really understands this Bitcoin protocol, and all they know is that, man, all of a sudden, when you own this particular thing, this Bitcoin, it goes up every 4 years, pretty much always, and it goes up all the time. So the fear of missing out will keep people in this Bitcoin for a while, even if the ETF doesn't happen. People are going to want to get involved with this thing and stay with it. And they're not. 99% of people don't understand the halving. Even the guys like, the big guys like Michael Saylor and those guys, I don't even know. I mean, they don't understand how the protocol. I mean, they understand the idea behind it, but I don't think they actually sit down and understand every little intricate detail of how the code is written and what is going on with it. I've never looked at the Bitcoin code. They tell me it's pretty simple, but nobody's really studying the code. But all we know is every 4 years this thing happens, and every 4 years this is an event that makes the Bitcoin price go up, and that's pretty much baked into the protocol, and it's pretty much shows up in all the different analysis and shows up in all the different charts. So there you go. It's there. from $12 to $1,100, from $600 to almost 20,000, and from 8,000 to 66,000. And I was involved in this one. So I was firsthand investing in this one. So I saw this happen. And it was pretty dramatic. I mean, when you have something like that, I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I was a penny stockbroker. I never saw anything take off like Bitcoin did from 2020 to I think whenever it hit its high of $66,000. Okay. What happened in 2020 that made it go from 8,000 to 66,000? Well, one of the things we had the pandemic. So what happened is massive amounts of money were flowing into the United States economy because everybody was idle. So we got stimulus payments, money got put into companies. If you had a company, you got some sort of payment for all, the lack of business you had, because pretty similar to what we have today. We have the same kind of thing that happened in 2020 today, except instead of having a pandemic going on, we have an election coming up in 2024, meaning no one's going to want the economy to do poorly in 2024. The Democrats, nor the Republicans, nor the third party, nobody wants that to happen. We have incredible inflation going on, and we have an expansion of money, an incredible expansion of money. I don't even know how much expansion of money's have been. U.S. expansion of money. Recently. See what they say. So from March 2020, the peak of 2020, M2 increased 5.7 trillion. M2, I hate it when they call stuff M1 and M2. M1 is money in people's hands, so M2 is, I don't even remember those anymore. But let's see what it's done in money. What is money supply in 2023? So we had 5.7 trillion get created in 2020. Let's see what's going on today. So looks like it's M2 decreased. Okay, whatever. I think they're trying to play it down a little bit, but I don't know if I'm going to get the exact money supply of what's been created in the last year. See if this tells me. AI gives me any information. All I know is this. I know this, the new Speaker of the House. This guy right here. Let's see if I can get a picture of him. This guy right here. Fiscally conservative. The first thing he does is he votes to extend the budget and not shut the government down. So he's not even trying to change anything. He's just saying, hey, look, we're going to keep things as it are. We'll just keep the money going as it is. We'll just keep spending all the money. We're going to give Ukraine what they need. We're going to give Israel what they need. We're going to give everybody what they need, and we're going to increase everything. And they're not even going through a money battle right now because they know no one's going to agree. So what does that mean? They're just going to continue to print this money and print this money and print this money. So in my mind, we have a kind of pretty much a similar situation as we had in 2020. We had massive amounts of money coming in, and then 2020, and the halving drove Bitcoin from about 8,000 to 66,000. How many times is that? 66,000 divided by 8. Horrible with math. 66,000 divided by 8. So it went up. That's not right. Hit the wrong numbers. 66,000 divided by 8. Oh, 8,000. I did it wrong. I'm trying to figure out how many times Bitcoin went up in that period of time. I'm going to get an exact figure for you. 8.25 times. So Bitcoin, so if you would have had, it went up 8 times, 8.25 times in that period of time. Man, that's crazy. And like I said, I was involved with that. I owned Bitcoin during that time. So I knew what, man, it was like, those were great days. Those were some of the best days of my life. you know, um, that was crazy times. Um, so yeah, I see a similar situation going on right now. It's a very similar situation going on right now. Very, very similar. Bitcoin, Bitcoin going up. Oh, we got somebody actually said I on the chat. Thanks. Bobby from Lincoln. All right. Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah, so yeah, I got one person showed up to the live. I appreciate that. I'm gonna start doing these more often. Like I said, I didn't do it for a long time because it just, it wasn't my deal. I wasn't gonna sit there and, you know, do crypto videos when you got this weird fro guy, Sam Bankman Fried, all over the news telling you how bad crypto is and how crypto is nothing but a scam. And it wasn't worth trying to fight all that negative news. And of course, EOS has been nothing but a complete shit show for the last however many years. I mean, I appreciate the ENF. They've done everything they can do. Those guys were dealt a really bad hand from the very beginning. There wasn't much they can do. I knew they were in a tough situation when they took that chain over. The reason I knew is because I was making videos. And even though the videos weren't getting a lot of views, I could tell by the people feedback from the video that there was a lot of happiness in the EOS community, and everything was kind of a mess. So yeah, the EOS, the guys, and what did the EOS guys do? The founders, the Novogratzes and the guy that was with PayPal, can't even think of his name right now. Those guys, they took their money and they just took it and put it in Bitcoin. So that's what they did. So, I think whether the largest holders of Bitcoin, I think Block was one of them. Let's see. Let me see if they get a big picture of who's the big holders of Bitcoin. I know Block One's up there somewhere. They got the addresses. But I thought they were in the top 10. Let me see if they're... MicroStrategies holds a bunch. Marathon, Galaxy, of course, is, I think, Novogratz. Those guys, they all own a lot of Bitcoin. Well, they got a lot of it from EOS by taking all the $4 billion that they got on the ICO and putting into Bitcoin. And of course, then the ENF had to try to bail all that out, and it was just too much. So yeah, I understand what happened. So, but anyway, we move on. We got Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in a good place right now. I'm looking for Bitcoin to break 40 here pretty quick. If it breaks 40, it'll probably go on a little bit higher. I think I'm hoping 100. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but that's where I'm at. I'm hoping 100, and I'm hoping 100 for everybody else out there too. Everybody else that needs a bump right now, that wants to get a little bit of cushion in life, that wants to be able to have a little bit to hang on to, with this crappy economy, no jobs, massive inflation, government propaganda telling you that there's no, the inflation is as high as it is. Consumer price inflation is always way down, and high interest rates and all this other stuff. That you still have something that you can hang your hat on, which is Bitcoin. So anyway, like I said, first live, I got one person to show up. I appreciate that. See if I can put his thing on. If you're from Lincoln, you probably watched the game yesterday. That was not a good game. I happen to be a Cornhusker fan. There we go. Bobby Boucher from Lincoln. So thanks for showing up. I appreciate that. So I could talk a little bit about the game, the Nebraska Cornhusker. So I've been a Nebraska Cornhusker fan my whole life because I grew up in the Bob Devaney era and a Tom Osborne era. And they never lost. In fact, if they did lose, it was a massive depression in the entire state. You never saw an entire group of people be so miserable as when Nebraska would lose to Oklahoma on the final game of the year to go to the national championship in the Orange Bowl. That was happened so many years I couldn't even tell you. So now they've got a team that finds the most miserable ways to lose you can ever imagine. I think it's a mindset. I don't think it's players. I don't think it's coaches. I just think it's a mindset. It seems like every time something bad happens, they're going to lose. And like yesterday, they had a couple bad things happen. And as soon as that happens, I think the guys from that was an incredible interception. The guy from Iowa makes. He's a big guy. He's a defensive end. He drops back into coverage, and somehow I think that Purdy got kind of mixed up the official and the D end. He throws the ball right to him, and then the defensive end, of course, he runs it. And of course, they're still not in field goal range. But then at that point, you knew kind of Nebraska would give up because it's a mindset. They do that every time. Something bad happens, and they just mentally give in. And then, of course, they give up a big run, and and they kick the field goal, and it's over with. So it's over with. It's like farming. You just wait till next year. Next year, hopefully, it'll be a better year. So anyway, somebody from Lincoln, I just wanted to touch a little, because I have made a couple videos about Nebraska football. I do enjoy it. I'm not emotionally attached to it like I was when I lived back there, but I do follow it. But I'm not. If the game goes bad, I just go, well. I just got to get over it quickly. But I do watch them, and that's the only football I watch. I don't watch Fort Pro, and I don't watch any other college, but I do watch Nebraska. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.